Hi, grade 3-4. This is one of 2 fraction videos for you this week. I've brought some of my favorite math supplies to help me out today. We've got some chocolate bars and we have some Skittles. We'll talk about those in a moment. I wish that we could be doing this in class. We could all have these out today, but unfortunately, you'll just have to watch me eat them at the end of the lesson. So stay till the end. We've been talking about fractions on Zoom and with your work last week. So a quick reminder about 2 important fraction words. We have the top number, which is the numerator, and that's the number of parts. It's always the number on top. And the bottom number, which is the denominator. That's right, which is the number of parts in the whole. So for the example here, and you've all done this on your sheets already, looks something like this. 3 out of 4. The 3 is in the numerator spot, 4 is in the denominator, and it's just showing us out of 4 whole parts. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 of them are filled in, so we have 3 out of 4 filled in there. Lots of you had a really easy time with that. And some of you just learning fractions picked it up really quickly. So that's awesome. Way to go. We're going to use the chocolate bar for this next example. So it's kind of hard to see, but if you were to count up all of the pieces or the denominator, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 whole, or 12 pieces in this whole shape here, so you'd have 12. If I said to you, hey, find me 3 out of 12 of that, I'm sure many of you would have no problem, and you'd just say 1, 2, 3. There we go. 3 out of 12, Mr. Harrison. All done. And that's awesome. But today is going to be a little bit trickier than that. Even though we have 12 pieces here, your work this week is going to ask you some different questions to make it a little trickier for you. So instead of asking you a question that has all of the shapes, all 12 of them, you might have a question that says, find me 1 out of 3 of these shapes. But you'll say, well, there's 12. How can I find 1 out of 3? Well, there's 2 different ways to do so. So the first way, which is the longer way, but might be a bit easier for some of you, is you just count. And every time you have a third shape, you just count that one. So 1, 2, 3, I'll count that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. These are the shapes I pulled out. If I have to say, find me 1/3 of that, you'd say that is 1/3 of your chocolate bar, Mr. Harrison. Now let me eat it. I wanted to eat it, you guys, but I didn't because we still need it for this activity. So I didn't eat it. I was tempted, but I had showed good impulse control. The second way to solve that, if I said to you, hey, find me 1/3 of this, even though there's 12 pieces, what you do is you actually use division. So there's a reason we do division before we do the fraction unit, and this is one of those reasons. So I've asked you to find 1/3 for me, but there's 12 shapes. So what you do is you actually take the total number, which is 12, because we know that because we counted them, and you divide it by the denominator. So you remember the denominator is the bottom number here. So it would be 12 divided by 3. If you use your strategy, some of you will use reverse multiplication. Some of you will use your chart. You'll find the answer is 4. That's just like we had for the other answer. So either of those strategies work really well for finding fractions in a collection. Let's do another example. This time I've taken some of the pieces out, so it's going to be a little bit of a different question. So if I said to you, find me 1/4 or 1/4 of these pieces, you wouldn't just count 1 because there's more than 4 here. So like we said, for every 4, you're going to be counting 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 1. So 1/4 of 8, because there's 8 pieces altogether, is going to equal how many we pulled out there? 2. Let's use that second strategy now that we talked about in the last question. So I've asked you the same thing, 1/4 of 8 pieces here. So we remember we take the total number, which is 8, we divide it by our denominator, which is 4. Use your division strategies again. We'll find your answer. I'll let you figure that one out. And 1/4 of 8 will equal, that's right, 2 again. All right, this time we're going to use some Skittles for our example, but I'm going to have you try to solve it on your own before we go over the strategies that we talked about. So the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to see how many Skittles there are there. So you might want to pause the video and count them up. Then I want you to tell me, using either the strategy where we count them or using the division strategy, how many Skittles we would have if we had 1/5 of the Skittles. If I said, hey, you can have 1/5 of my Skittles, how many Skittles could you have? I will give you a moment to try to solve that, and I want to answer 1/5 of my Skittles. Good luck. This time we're going to start with a division strategy. So I've asked you to find 1/5 out of my Skittles. If you counted them up properly, you would have seen there was 20 Skittles there. So remember, we take the total number, we divide it by the denominator. So 20 divided by 5. If you need to pull your chart up for this or use the strategy that you've been doing for our division unit, you'll find your answer is 4. Let's check it using the other way that we talked about. So let's put the camera back down onto the Skittles. We've asked for 1 out of every 5. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1/5 out of 20 Skittles we said was 4. We've checked it. Looks like we got 4 again. We must be right. Well done. I don't know what happened. Somebody came and I think it was my dog, must have come and ate some of my Skittles. So we don't have 20 Skittles anymore. I don't know what happened, but 4 of them are missing now. Anyway, the last question we're going to do, I guess we only have 16 Skittles. So here's your challenge question. I'm going to ask you about it on our Zoom meetings this week. There's 16 Skittles here. I want you to find 1 out of 8 of these Skittles. How many Skittles would you get to eat if I said to you, you get to have 1 out of 8 of these Skittles? That's the question I'm going to be talking about with you on Zoom. I got to go try to find out who's eating my Skittles without me knowing here. Good luck, and we'll talk soon.